can't believe I'm here, playing for my life tonight.
I can't believe I'm here, I made it, I'm playing for my life tonight. I'm a shining light. I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm here. Playing for our life tonight. Yeah, I'm playing for our life tonight.
Welcome to Kingdom Driven Sports, friends. Thank you for joining me today. It's a beautiful day here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. The sun is out, the temperature is warm. My family and I are planning to go on a walk later on to enjoy this beautiful weather, and I'm very much looking forward to that. I hope wherever you are that it's a beautiful day as well. But even if not, if it's rainy or gloomy, I hope that you're having a wonderful day to this point. I appreciate you taking your time out of your day to join me for this mini episode where we get a chance to connect. I want to tell you a little bit about myself in regards to my passion for sports and to give you some information so that we can hopefully embark upon this journey, the sports journey together, where we look to edify Christ in our sports talk and also just have fun talking sports together. As I was preparing for this video, I was trying to think of how I wanted to approach this. If I just wanted to do a video where I just tell you about the sports that I grew up following and which teams I followed and try to get it all done in one video. And while that definitely was a possibility, I felt that it would probably keep your interest more if I did shorter videos and tackled one sport at a time. So that's the approach I'm taking. In this little mini episode of this video, I'm planning to talk about the sport of baseball. And the reason I'm going with baseball first is because really baseball was my first true love when it came to sports. As a kid, I remember just falling in love with the sport. And my friends and I, we would enjoy going out to the park and playing pickup baseball games. We often didn't have enough people to fill out every position, but we still had lots of fun playing. We would field the ball as best we could and take turns going up to bat. And it was just a lot of fun being able to hang out with my friends and play some baseball and just have fun together, talk about our favorite teams and our favorite players. And it was a game that, as a kid, thinking back on it now, brings back a lot of nostalgic feelings and just happy memories of playing with my friends and trying to make good plays on the field or hitting a ball as hard as I could. And even though I didn't really play any little league, I did try out for Babe Ruth one year and I played that 1 year, but I was terrible. By that time, I was in, I think, the 8th grade when I was playing on the Babe Ruth team or in the Babe Ruth league, and it did not go well. I think my approach every time I went up to bat, at first it was, let's see if I can hit the ball, but I wasn't good at that. I would often strike out. And so then my approach was, hopefully I can draw a walk. And I did that somewhat, but it was almost always by accident because I was like, I'm just going to do my best and hope that I can draw 4 balls and get on base. Still, though, I had a lot of fun. I remember hanging out with my teammates on the bench, and it was just, I loved the sport of baseball, especially growing up. I remember movies like The Sandlot and Angels in the Outfield, Rookie of the Year, Field of Dreams. They had some great baseball movies in the 90s. And you just think of The Sandlot, that was a lot like what my friends and I were like, in the sense of just wanting to go out and play ball. Now, when it comes to teams, I wanted to be like my dad. Now, my dad, he was born and raised in the Akron, Ohio area, so he grew up a Cleveland Indians fan. And so I grew up rooting for the Cleveland Indians. And I grew up in a time where that was awesome because the Cleveland Indians were actually a really good team in the 90s. They had a bunch of good players. I'll talk a little bit about some of my favorite players on the team. But it was a good time to be an Indians fan. And even though they didn't win a World Series, there's a few times they came close, especially one time in 1997, which I'll touch on briefly. But they were almost always in contention to at least make the World Series. Had it not been for that dynastic New York Yankees team of the 90s, perhaps we would have won one, but the Yankees had a pretty good team during that time. And as an Indians fan during that time, I was not a fan of the Yankees. and always was a bitter pill to swallow when we lost to them. But I enjoyed rooting for the Indians. It was such a fun time. We lived in California. And so when they would go play the Angels, it went from California Angels to the Anaheim Angels to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. I think they are now. But I remember it was more during the California Angels when they were the California Angels. And then another time or two when they were the Anaheim Angels, we went to go watch the Indians play them. And that was such a great time. Little kid who loves baseball, being able to go and watch a game in person and some of his favorite players. That was a really awesome time. In fact, I remember getting an autograph one year from a pitcher by the name of Chad OJ. He actually pitched for the Indians, and I remember during the 97 World Series, he had a pretty good at bat for the Indians. I think he hit a double, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, I was a big Indians fan. And despite them not winning a World Series during that time, it was fun to root for them. And watching players like Jim Thome, he was my dad's favorite player to hit home runs. And he was a big guy, strong as an ox, and like a meat and potatoes guy. And he did it the right way. You know, we, of course, later found out that era was filled with a lot of steroid use and performance enhancing drugs, which is unfortunate. But at the time it was super exciting. Like the home run summer of, I think, 98, where Marco McGwire and Sammy Sosa were going back and forth trying to break the single season home run record. That was a lot of fun. And as a kid, that was a great summer to be a baseball fan, because if you were following baseball or a fan of baseball at all, every day you're watching Baseball Tonight, trying to get the news to see who had hit a home run and who was getting closer to breaking the record. And it's such a great time. And like I say, even though it was tarnished a bit by the later on finding out about the performance enhancing drugs and steroid use, it was still at the time super exciting. Going back to my favorite team, Cleveland Indians, my first favorite player was Kenny Lofton. He was a center fielder for the Cleveland Indians. And I remember one of the things that solidified him as a favorite of mine when I was a kid was a play that he made in center field. We were playing, I think, the Baltimore Orioles. And if I remember correctly, BJ Surhoff was at bat. And he hit a ball pretty well. It looked like it was going to be a home run. And then you just see Kenny Lofton running back towards the wall, tracking it. And he ends up climbing the wall and extending his glove over the wall and making the catch. And it was amazing. In fact, I remember one of the announcers, if I remember correctly, comparing him to Spider-Man, the way he climbed the wall and grabbed that ball and brought it back. It was definitely a home run robbery and a fantastic play. And that was one of the things that even now I think about. I'm like, man, that was such a great play. So as a kid, I was like, yeah, I like this Kenny Lofton guy. And then, of course, seeing his other skills like base stealing, he was a great base stealer. In fact, anytime he got on first, whether it be a walk or a single, it was almost guaranteed, if second was open, that he was going to end up on second by stolen base and possibly third. A lot of times he would steal third as well. And so you had Kenny Lofton. He was a favorite. I was devastated when they traded him away a couple years later after the 95 World Series. They traded him for David Justice from the Braves, which ironically was one of my good friend's favorite players when he was a kid. So my favorite player got traded to his favorite team, and his favorite player got traded to my favorite team. And yeah, we were both bummed because that was our favorite player on our team that was getting traded to the other team. And so that was a bit of a bummer. But I also had another favorite player by the name of Omar Vizquel. He was our shortstop. And it was something about defense I really loved. Kenny Lofton in center field. And then you had Omar Vizquel at shortstop, making these incredible plays, like throws and stops that you would have thought there's no way he's going to get to that ball, or there's no way he's going to make that throw. And lo and behold, he makes it. And then a few years later, the Indians got Roberto Alomar, who at the time was considered one of the best, if not the best, defensive second baseman. very good at bat as well. But man, that duo was a great double play duo. They were turning double plays, and it was just nearly impossible to get anything through the infield with them playing short, with Vizquel playing shortstop and Alomar playing second base. And there were other great players. Sandy Alomar, who was actually, I think, Roberto Alomar's brother. He played the catcher. He was a great catcher. Jim Thome, who started out at third base and then went to first base, was a phenomenal hitter, power hitter. You can almost count on 40 plus home runs every year from him. We had Manny Ramirez before he went to the Boston Red Sox, and he was great. Rifle arm from outfield and another power bat. Albert Bell for a little bit, although Albert Bell had some off the field issues. I remember there was an incident with a fan where he lost his temper, and so there were some off the field shenanigans that they had to deal with. But he was a good player as well. But he also, I believe, I don't remember he got traded or he just signed with another team. But there was a bunch of great players. Matt Williams, Travis Fryman, Tony Fernandez at one point, and Marquise Grissom, David Justice. It was just on pitchers. Charles Nagy, he was a great pitcher. Chad Ojai, I thought was pretty good because I got his autograph. But he actually proved himself to have a pretty good bat as well, as he, like I said, in the World Series, he hit a double. We had Jarrett Wright, who in 97 was a phenom, but I think he was like one of those one-year wonders. And so it was awesome following those Indians teams. And in 1997, when they went on that playoff run, it might be the most memorable playoffs that I've ever gone through when it comes to baseball. And I just remember I thought for sure we were going to win. We made it to the World Series. We were playing the Florida Marlins. I thought we had the better team, but unfortunately, we got one out away from winning the World Series, but weren't able to close the deal. I remember as a kid, I was devastated. I remember crying when we lost that game, but it's just the way it happened. And I'm still very grateful that I got to root for those Indians teams. As for now, I've lost a little bit of my passion for baseball. Back when I remember the baseball went on strike, not the 94 strike, but I think it was around 2001 or so. And the players wanted more money, and I just left a bad taste in my mouth. I didn't understand how the whole system worked in that regard. I was just mad because I was like, you guys make millions upon millions of dollars and you want more, and you're not going to play baseball because you're not making enough money. So that left a bad taste in my mouth. And I got into it a little bit more later on, but I also lost my love for the Indians when they changed their name. I think it was back in 2021 or 2022 when the Indians decided to change their name from the Cleveland Indians to the Cleveland Guardians without really, I think, researching the history to why they were named the Indians. For those that don't know, at the time they were the Cleveland Spiders, but the first Native American baseball player played for the Cleveland Spiders. His name was Louis Sockalexis, and he played for the Spiders from 1897 to 1899. He was a great athlete and had played for the Cleveland Spiders and had some great athletic ability from what I understand. Unfortunately, his career was cut a bit short because of injuries, and I also believe he struggled with alcohol, which I can relate to. You've heard my testimony. Alcoholism is no fun, not a fun battle to have to overcome. But so in the sense, that was sad that he had to deal with that and deal with the injuries that he did. But some people still say this is debatable. But I think I found it to be true. That's why they named changed the name from the Cleveland Spiders to the Cleveland Indians, was to honor Louis Sockalexis and his being the first Native American to play baseball. And so it wasn't a slight against the Native American people. It wasn't meant to be offensive. It was meant to honor this person. And they still decided to change the name. And so that was a bummer because I remember loving to say, I root the tribe or Chief Wahoo. I loved having hats with the Chief Wahoo logo, the smiling Indian. And it was just sad that they got rid of the Indians name, the history, the, like I said, nicknamed the tribe, and changed it to Cleveland Guardians. So I don't really root for the Guardians. I'll follow them here and there just to see how they're doing. And I have nothing against the players because I know they had nothing to do with it. But as I tell people, I'll always be a Cleveland Indians fan, but I'll never be a Cleveland Guardians fan. And it's just a bummer. And I think a lot of it is nostalgic, I understand. But I wish they would have kept the name. And if they did change it, I think I somewhat would have understood if they changed it back to Cleveland Spiders. But still, I think it was done for the wrong reasons. And it's just sad to me. So I don't follow the Indians, definitely not as passionate as I was when I was a kid. But I still enjoy watching baseball. My current favorite team is probably the Fort Wayne Tin Caps. Love going to watch them play. There's a beautiful field here in Fort Wayne called Parkview Field where they play at. I'm looking forward to their game starting up here soon and going to watch them play. It's always fun, a great family environment. I guess if you were to say, well, who's your favorite team now? It's the Fort Wayne Tin Caps. But I definitely still have an appreciation for baseball because it's a great game. I know it hasn't received as much love lately as other sports, but I think it's a great game because it involves strategy. The managers it's like a chess game. When do I steal a base? When do I put in a hit and run? Or when do I do sacrifice bunt or call for a bunt just out of the blue? When should I change pitchers? This and that. And it's just a great strategic game. And I think it doesn't get enough love at times. But that's a little bit about me in regards to baseball. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your day, though, to come check this video out, learn a little bit more about me, and get to know how I got into baseball and what I love about the sport, and to know that this is a sport I'm looking forward to covering and getting to know with you guys and what your favorite teams are, players, how you got into the sport. So I hope this has been a video that you've enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to putting out another one soon where I talk about my passion for either basketball or football. Those are the two other sports I grew up watching, and telling you about how I got into them and what my teams are. Anyways, friends, God bless you. Thanks for joining. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you again soon. God bless.